by herself. Because you know the whole horror movie trope. You're always safer in numbers. Perhaps a break is needed. Maybe Marianne had a point. I'm frustrated. If I'm unhappy, maybe a break is needed. There. Yeah, he's just dropped it down because obviously he's not going to like where this is heading. Which is quite interesting that Marianne's is higher than Luke at the minute. I'm about to clear our heads and think for ourselves, or for myself to be exact. Because looking at this mess before me just brings nothing but distress. I feel a bit nauseous actually, now that I think about it. Luke's too busy making a scene to notice, but a concerned Becky pulls me to one side. She looks as disturbed as I am by the sudden turn of events. Perhaps not a big fan of drama. Definitely not used to it at any rate. Not surprising as her parents were lovely yet simple people.
Hey, I figured you could use the save. You looked like you weren't doing too hot back there. Do we need to call a doctor or something?
Oh no,
Oh shit, I didn't even think of this. There's a scene earlier on where Hannah's throwing up in the morning. Morning sickness. She's on about always wanting to have a place for the kids. It's a massive stretch, but what's the possibility that Hannah could be pregnant?
I'll just be needing some fresh air, that's all. Some help getting out of here would be much appreciated.
Sure, that won't be a problem. I wanted to get away from this drama too anyway. Just... Hey, Zachary! Hey, Zach!
And the mention of his name, I can't help but seek him out in the crowd as he makes his way over. They know each other?
Becca, this is a real oh, hey, Miss Wright.
I'm to assign a random number to dedicate the odds of having two of my acquaintances know each other. I'd say the odds are about 1 of 1,000. And if this is any other situation, I would have been suspicious. It isn't completely impossible to have two random strangers who I've met on separate occasions to know each other in what will be a complete random happenstance. Just that it's been faked before to try and dupe me because of who I am and who I'm married to, but right now, coincidence or not, I'm just grateful for the help. As long as this doesn't turn out to be a kidnapping in any way.
Hello, Zachary. I told you to call me Hannah. Did I not?
Yeah, you did. So this is what you called me for. We gonna get Hannah out of here?
I can see that they're friends. Not terribly close ones, but friends nonetheless.
That'd be great.
Make quick work of getting us through the crowd. People part because of Zachary's broad build, even if they want to approach me. If that isn't enough, Becky pointed glares keep them at bay. I don't like this. We even make it out of the ballroom without any untoward incident. Though, judging by the commotion in the other room, the same cannot be said about the unexpected eviction. I really do need some fresh air. I need to be away from those nosy Parkers, and I need to be away from Luke. It's a good start as any.
I gotta go back in there. Completely forgot my bag like an airhead, and I'll see if I can tag Ash on the way out. You'll be fine here, right, Hannah?
Not to worry, dearie. I'll just be right here.
Zach will be with you if you need anything.
God, and our relationship wasn't that good by the end of it. Anyone who hasn't yet would have realised I'm gone by now. And those busybodies will be gossiping about how I left the building with two unknowns. Along with what had just transpired, stories both inaccurate and made up will spread by the night's end. It all matters very little in the grand scheme of things, of course. I won't even bother to try and quell them by returning into the fray. Which leaves me with...
Zachary?
Yeah, you need something?
What was that flash? Or is it just an aura around his head?
I was only going to say how nice it is to see you again.
Oh, okay.
Shit. You can see the tension in the line of his shoulders. Odd how awkward he is when this isn't our first meeting. We had met on professional terms, certainly, but I'd like to think he was friendly. Nonetheless, I do not push the issue of the apparent discomfort when we're left alone. Not right now, at any rate. I know my curiosity will get the better of me soon, before I can say anything however he speaks
You
up.
okay there, Hana? I mean, of course you're not okay after what happened in there. I mean, that was terrible, but you're not gonna just fall down and faint or anything, right?
I'm fine. Thank you for your concern. I
But
should be asking you the same thing. I remember you being a lot more eloquent.
Oh yeah, I'm just not too good with staying too long in a crowded room. Or handling intense drama, you know? Sorry about my clothes, didn't think there'd be a dress code. Not that I have anything that nice to wear to a shindig like this. I dig nice, small, simple parties, so this is a real doozy for me.
And do you host your own nice, small, and simple parties often?
Only when there's occasion, birthdays and stuff. Those are a lot more fun for me, and I can be a lot more selective about letting only the people I'm cool with attend, right? I get to pick the food too. Of course, I make most of them myself. There's usually a dozen people or less, and all we really do is just hang out. Maybe do some grilling, karaoke, dancing, you know, the usual.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, you sure you're alright? You aren't exactly being eloquent yourself, as you put it. You must have something you want to get off your chest.
I don't know, Zachary. What am I supposed to say?
You can scream merde if you want. I won't snitch.
I'm pretty sure merde... I can't even say it. Is the French word for fuck.
You want to know what I think? How I feel? I think my friend may have slept with my husband. At least, I'm pretty sure she isn't pregnant with his baby, which isn't much now, is it? My husband is a selfish, pretentious, bloody sack of shite, and ugh! You know what? I don't give a flying fuck anymore! My God!
Well, that ain't good. Not giving a crap won't make the problem go away.
Oh, Zach.
I'm going to ask him for a break, Zachary. I'm not going to pretend that there isn't a problem, but I just need to step back.
Fair enough. As long as you don't just up and disappear on him, I suppose.
Yes. Now can we please stop talking about him? Tell me more about your small, simple parties. Karaoke and dancing. How does that even go together?
Simple, really. We hope Ash doesn't take the mic, put on a bit of fun music, and just dance. Not that I can. But there ain't nothing complex about it.
You can't be that bad.
I'm pretty good with the twist. Or that's what they tell me, at least. I think they're just being nice. I'm sure it just looks awkward.
Oh, he's blushing as well. How should I respond? Right, I'm not messing this up anymore. So this I will save scum. Do I prove it, or do I say at least you can cook? Do I prove it, or say at least you can cook? Because the relationship with Zach at the minute really is not that good. If anything, it went down after my last thing with him. At least you can cook.
At least you can cook. Allegedly. You still bring no proof.
This party ain't exactly a potluck, is it?
True, true. Perhaps you can invite me to one of your simple parties.
Ooh.
I will bring the cake.
Yeah, why not? But with a cake that big like at your housewarming party, we'll be eating frosting for weeks. Maybe make it a little simpler and it's a deal.
Simple would be nice.
Well, that was unexpectedly alright. Which the same could be said about what I'm about to do. Simple isn't the adjective I would use to describe the task at hand, because really, how does one tell their husband that they want to separate and say that, no, this is not a divorce? Not yet, at least. Possibility is there, but still, how am I even to explain that to Luke without him throwing a fit? Putting too deeply into my sausages, I open my mouth to excuse myself. Until I spy Luke mashing and stirring his poached egg with a fork like a petulant child. He's been silent all the while, chin in his hand and elbow resting on the table. I worry that my absence after the debacle might have caused more harm than good.
Luke, I think we need a bit of a break. You know, some time apart.
My words, he grows still and silent. Not quite sure whether I should be worried or not. Take it as my cue to keep talking.
It's not permanent or anything like that. Just for a while. In a few days, perhaps.
Right, let's have a look. Because I've not kept on top of these. That's all them ones. The anniversary. Drowned self. So that's when we found out that Rose was dead. Housewarming party. Talk about kids. Talking with Zach. Found out that he was drinking absinthe. This... Wait, was that the day of the party? No. This is the day of the party. So nothing's happened on the 27th yet. That's Hannah there. In the aftermath of Rochelle's accusations, devastated Hannah was seen exiting the ballroom with Rebecca Gales and Zachary Steele. Hannah was left in the care of the man. Rebecca had to go back to the party in search of Ashton. Now alone, the two had a talk and were both smiling by the end of it. Fuck yeah.
I was thinking I can move back into our penthouse in the meantime, but I won't be moving out right away, so that I can help settle everything here. And I haven't even thought of packing yet. And I'll want to ask Johans to assign some of our staff. Unless you want the penthouse anyway. Then I'll stay here instead.
No, you take the penthouse. It'll be easier for you.
He's not even kicking up a fuss? Can he really react so aloof
Isn't
to
this
it?
to your liking? I imagine that you'd like the space and independence. You'll have the bed and covers to yourself, and you can have whatever you want prepared for meals. You can even have all the wine you want, though I rather that you don't.
This isn't about that, Hannah. Well, it's partly that, but...
Man stops playing with his food, choosing instead to push the plate
What's
aside.
wrong, Luke?
Slumps back in his chair and just stops short of putting his feet up on the table. Suspects he's wanting some wine or absinthe by now, but any sort of alcohol is suspiciously absent in his hand.
Aside from that disaster yesterday and you telling me you want a divorce, everything is peachy keen. Will you want me to start on the letters then? To start the divorce settlements and whatnot? Will you be seeking ways to throw me out onto the street without a penny to my name?
No, Luke, this isn't a divorce. I just told you this is only temporary. Are you really having a sulk because of what she said yesterday?
I am having a sulk because you believe her. You stormed out and now you're asking for us to split up? Soon enough, you'll want to throw me out like I'm a piece of trash.
Well, you kind of are a piece of trash, but I'll just keep that to myself.
Do you think I would be this calm if I believed her, Lucille Mitchell Wright?
Ooh, full name, bitch.
Because believe me, if I did, well, it wouldn't be pretty. Besides, I know how you feel about children. It makes her whole statement laughable.
Sure, whatever you say.
His mouth draws to a thin line, and I can't bring myself to comment on his half-hearted reply. To me, the silence that follows feels oppressive. It only emphasizes the wall that has been built up by my... What? The fuck is that word? Obeisance? Differential respect. A gesture expressing differential respect, such as a bow or curtsy. It looms between us, keeping us apart.
When are you leaving? In a week?
It won't take that long to pack. After All Saints, perhaps? I'll go and inform the staff of this.
He only nods. I'd be lying if I said that it didn't disappoint me. I expected more resistance, the man who can be stubborn as a mule if he wants to be. Perhaps I can leave now just to spite him? And that isn't like me. Even if this does end in a divorce, a thing we both surely wish to avoid, we can still leave on amicable terms. There's no point in making a mountain out of a molehill.
What are you still doing here? Just leave. You still have some packing to do, don't you?
Ooh, you are a fucking arsehole.
Go ahead. I won't stop you.
See, this... I need to calm myself down before I hedge into a massive rant. So, from the entire perspective, he's never around. He always talks down about having kids. He wants everything the way that he wants it. She never has a say. He has a drinking problem. There's a potential that he's cheating. Hannah believes that he has the potential to cheat. He never wants kids, but he's strangely... Even with all that going on, if he wasn't cheating, he would fight like fuck about this. He's being that calm, it's suspicious. It's one of those, you're being that calm because you know what has been said is true, and you're not going to put up an argument about it because what's the point of arguing against something which is true? But then on the other hand, it's a potential that stuff like, well, actually, maybe if I kick up a fuss, even if it is true, she won't believe it. Go ahead. Do nothing. There isn't much to do, it seems, whenever I step up to the plate and try and take responsibility for something. That's because everything is already being handled by someone else, someone hired specifically for that job, with Johannes overseeing the staff and Luke handling everything else as a whole. That doesn't leave much for me. Can't even take the job of delegation, because all it takes is a word to one of the senior staff and everything will be taken care of for me. Moving in here a few days ago may have very well been the chore that took the most effort from me. And that didn't really take any real effort, did it?
Go buy a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Good idea. Great plan.
There are no dishes to set aside and busy myself with. Any mess left behind is now nearly non-existent. To sit on a counter while eating cake is supposed to be my next plan. Alas, there isn't even one to finish off, and I don't really know what brought me to the kitchen in the first place. I get a feeling, because the last place where she heard the ghost was by that hatch, or I can only assume by that hatch because Johannes never heard it. And the ghost seems to have the ability to kind of obscure themselves to people that it doesn't want to show itself to. There's a calling to this room. Speaking of a calling, why not do just that? Might as well, since I've got nothing else to do. At least that will require some effort on my part, with how cut off the rest of Luxbourne the mansion is, and how long it was abandoned before we moved in. Having a landline is out of the question. Solution's supposed to be our mobiles, though it isn't much considering how spotty the signal is in this area. It'll take a bit of manoeuvring to get even a single bar as it is. Takes a bit, as I said it would. I have to park my rear on one of the cold drawers, but that suits me just fine. Another matter that needs my effort is who to call. She who must not be named is certainly off the list, so I'm guessing that's Rochelle. That doesn't leave much in the category of close friends who attended the party, along with the category of who else is awake at this early hour. But soon enough, I'm managing call, and the call goes through.
Hello, Rebecca Gales here.
He's ringing Rebecca.
Who's this?
Good morning, Becky.
Hannah? Oh, wait, how did you get my number?
You responded to your RSVP through the phone. It's all saved in here, of course. I thought I'd like to say hi and make plans and get together sometime. Also, I'd love to hear news about your mother and father and about you, my dear. Oh, I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, you're good. It's sports day at school today, so I was just prepping for that.
Figures that you'd be a teacher as well. I'm sure your students must absolutely adore you.
Don't know about that.
Mathematics?
History, actually. Anyway, it's real nice to know you've got my number. I was going to ask for yours because Mom wanted to keep in touch.
You could have asked, silly girl. I would have gladly given it to you.
Couldn't, though, because, well, the thing that happened.
Yeah, the big scene.
But really am sorry, though. I gotta run. School, schedule, stuff. Is there anything else you want to say? Don't want to use the mobile while driving.
Mobile?
Oh, of course. I shouldn't keep you. But I wanted to thank you for your company yesterday.
Not a problem.
I was hoping you could thank Zachary on my behalf as well.
Story updated. During breakfast, Hannah asked Luke for a break. She'd moved back into their penthouse for a couple of days. Despite trying to remain aloof, her husband accused her of wanting a divorce. Hannah insisted she simply needed a break away from him. I'm kind of worried that she's going back to the penthouse alone.
He was really kind and wonderful.
Well, you can tell him that yourself if you want. I can give you his number.
Ooh.
Oh, no, I don't want to be a bother. Intruding on his privacy.
Pretty sure he'd be fine with it. If you two are on a first-name basis and all. So, his number, right, it's...
The call starts to go, oh no, the fucking ghoul bitch is here. Strange clicking noise drowns out most of her words too. I can barely understand what she's saying. 7876-0304. Not long enough for a UK mobile number. The line completely dies. Oh, fuck. I can feel a headache coming along. It's just building up. Starting from a light throbbing on one side of my head. The static is gone and that helps a lot. But there's still that incessant horrible clicking. Again, and again. Doesn't make sense. The mobile's turned off, isn't it? If it isn't coming from the phone, then where? No. When the clicking stops, I can hear crying. That familiar crying from before. Please give me the option to not go down again. What happened the other day when I was told that nobody should have been down there? I tried to forget it because of how it unsettled me. One can hardly do that when I'm looking at the very thing I'm trying to forget. Somebody's crying down there, but if I leave it alone, it simply won't bother. No.
This again?
No, don't go down there.
If somebody is pulling my leg, I will not be happy.
No, Hannah! I look down into the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. Isn't just the sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness. It's suffocating. As I look down, it feels like it's looking back at me. I worry that something will pull me into the deep. Oh God, the cries down beneath. The shrieks. Oh God, they're all screaming, shouting at me. All I can do is feel her rage. Help me. She wants to drown me, drag me down and crush me into the very depths of darkness until there's nothing left of me. A deep abyss waits for me. My death. They're all calling for it. This is a nightmare. There's a rope around my neck and I can feel the rest of me being torn apart. And they're still screaming. I'm screaming. Though it's not my voice that escapes my lips. It claws through, climbing up. Oh. I choke and gag, yet scream and shriek all at the same time. But I'm me. And I'm me, but not me. G. I. E. Oh my God. Pushes me down to my knees before I'm prone and vulnerable on my stomach. It makes me tumble. I can feel my whole body seizing, writhing on the floor. Everything and nothing hurts. It feels like I'm on the verge of death. And if I'm not dying, I nearly wish I actually am.
Hannah, what is going on in here?
Why are you?
Prince!
Seeing Luke, something snaps back and I'm able to take a gasp of the air on my own volition. Oh my God. I would have rejoiced and cried for his name if the pain still did not rack my body. Instead, all I can do is stare listlessly. Oh, me. He tries to get me to my feet, perhaps to take me out of here, but all he's able to do is get me to sit, make sure I'm not thrashing around on the floor. I can still feel my muscles spasm, limbs jerking like a puppet on a string. Luke holds me tight and keeps me still. Oh God. Whatever it is that happened, it has my mind feeling frayed and battered. Eventually the pain dies down into a dull ache and my own tongue stops feeling like cotton. It's only now that I feel the wetness on my cheeks, tears streaking down my face. A coughing racks my body, not that now that I don't feel like choking. And it just feels so horrible. But I don't care. I don't care.
Please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hana. You're safe now. ...
Journal. Profile's new, so I've got Zach's profile. Jesus Christ. Right, I'm going to take a short break, quickly get up, stretch my legs and everything. I don't think my break screen is set up for this, so bear with us. Bloop. It's not a window capture that I want. Game capture. Okay. Capture. Anything. Window. The letter. Okay. Order. Move to the bottom. There we go. Right, I'll be back in a minute. I just need to kind of stretch my legs and kind of de-stress after that QTE, so back in a minute. Hi. This game has such an unnatural way of toying with your nerves while playing. And plus, I was getting milk from my throat. Hopefully that stops the throat from hurting a little bit. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Faint but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Pa's stern but commending gaze, Ma's tender smiles, the sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning. And the distant smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room, our room, Ma and Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I too, eventually. But we ain't allowed there. Not yet. Not until we're taller or older. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves and not burn our hands or reach into the cupboards without having to be
But a
lifted.
little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
Floorboards are cold under my feet and more than it usually is. The walls more foreboding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and Pa...
No, please wait. I'll be good. I'll sleep on time. Don't go.
Can't hear Pa. Not above the raucous clanging and deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. Jesus Christ, were his parents murdered? There is only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, the red sea that catches me is bitter and frigid, but the blood that drips in my hand is warm, warm, warm. It ain't my blood. The walls tumble over and everything goes quiet. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings, my shirt clinging to me tightly and my blankets a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived, and yet...
Way too early for this thing, man.
And too long since the last I've woken up drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, only imprints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day, or until my mind forgets about it. Egad. Whichever comes first. Yet vivid or not, what little I can remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, clawing up, pushing, urging me to relive every moment, every sensation, relive every moment, every sensation, and... There's a twinkle in Ma's eye when she looks up from her work, flour dusting her nose and cheeks. The scent of freshly baked bread wafts from the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills the room. He reaches up to wipe the small beads of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer. The moment he spots me on my little hiding place behind the door. I expect him to be angry, but he pats on my back when I come within arm's reach. He's encouraging enough. We'll have to taste these first before we put it up for sale tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before we can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distantly familiar. Ma ushers me out the kitchen while Pa moves to answer. But I know what waits outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under the tight grip. Something snaps back into place. My bed remains in utter disarray. The walls still need a new paint job, and the wall clock ticking opposite my bed is unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had the
You're
chance.
no longer there, Zachary. Here and there are miles apart.
Yeah, having to try and read all this. It would be a tall order, to say the least.
Calm down. Breathe.
Pressure of my own fingers against my temple is a welcome sensation over the anxiety gripping me. I never really did anything to stave off the headache, sure to follow after this before, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I'm safe, away from this place I once called home, from Ma and Pa's. Yeah, I'm still, as you can probably tell, I can't read that well myself. It's exactly midnight. The urgency which the rap follows finally chases away the ghost, threatening to hang around. I think he was meaning there. Going. Just, yeah. Why anybody thinks it's a good idea to knock on someone else's door this late confuses me. Nana would chase them away with a broom if she was here. But no matter, it's a welcome break from the thoughts about to take a morbid left turn. Probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to crash. Looking for a place to crash. Wonder of wonders why he's bothering with the courtesy even when he never did so before. Even with that hunch though, habit compels me to check who it is first through the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say. Except the person that greets me on the side isn't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight and started wearing a ponytail, of course. Which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon. Is it Isabella? I waste no time opening the latches.
Isabella, it's late.
Hold on. What's the date? What's the date today? And let's have a look at Zach's. So he's 31 as well, 6 foot, freelance photographer, American agnostic. Before his parents' death, he lived in New Jersey where his family owned a diner and bakery. He and his older sister were orphaned due to hate crime. So, yeah, the film what he made, which was going around the documentary what he was doing, was brought up because of the hate crime that was going on. Yeah, creation. First documentary that a robbery occurred and Ashton was there to investigate. Something I can't quite pinpoint when her eyes look up. Yeah, I'm wondering because when we were playing... Right, when was the last time we played Isabella? There she was in the window. She talked to the cat, talked about Rose, and then the final day, there was that. So it's at least October the 24th. At the very least, because we never went to Zach's place as Isabella. Her face is a pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy and uncontrollable shaking in her hands she's trying to hold back. Hide if I didn't know any better.
Hey, Zach. Sorry,
Give us a shout as well if the stream dips or anything, guys, because Nathan's just started downloading something. It shouldn't affect my stream. Although I can kind of see that my upload is starting to go a little bit haywire.
I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you are the closest to my office, and...
No, it's
Closest to
perfectly
my
fine.
office.
I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
Is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought... I'm sorry, I just thought...
I have no idea why I went here.
My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and... Sorry.
There's after there. She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead, her only response is a downward shift of her gaze, back to her still trembling hands as if motion alone is enough of an explanation. A minuscule gesture. Easy to miss if one's not paying attention. But for someone who has seen the same expression on the mirror, doing the same thing too many times when night terrors are inevitable, it's not.
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you not. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it. I swear that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
Without waiting for her to answer, I step away from the door and saunter over to the kitchenette. For a few good seconds, only the clinking of plates can be heard over the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, the familiar motions keep me occupied, steering my mind away from dangerous thoughts. So the reason as well, it's said multiple times that he's a good cook. I assume he's kept up the cooking because of his parents. Isabella's company is not unwelcome either. Whatever her reason for showing up at such an hour doesn't matter. I'll be damned if I just turn her away, frazzled as she is. The door clicks shut behind her when she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tiled floor. In all the years I've known her, she's never once lost her ever upbeat spirit. Yeah, in this particular moment, she stands in my doorway, holding her arms close to herself. It is as if I'm looking at someone completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
Do you want to drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
Just water will do, please. Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway. And feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable right now. Sorry, new freelance gigs and such. Didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Oh yeah, Shane. Something what I've seen recently as well. There's going to be a Halo 5 run at AGDQ in the next few hours. I might have to stay up and watch that. Usually she'd have something more to say about that. A quip or witty remark to provoke a laughter or two. Nothing from her this time. Only a weak smile before she takes a seat on the couch and a silent stretch that stretches out until what we are left hanging feels disconcerting. Everything turns stifling and awkward. I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. Yeah, I don't know when it's happening. I think Metal Gear Solid is up next on AGDQ, and I think it's 2 games after that. And the Metal Gear Solid speedrun's probably going to be like an hour and a half, so it probably won't be until like 5 o'clock this morning, unfortunately.
Anyway, gigs. Can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my schedule shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property.
That'll be him going to see Hannah.
Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world. The world itself moves for you, huh?
Curls up on one side of the couch and hugging her knees close when I bring the tray carrying the sandwiches and the water she requested. Yeah, all the VODs get backed up. So you can either see the VODs on their channel or they upload them all to YouTube eventually.
You're a guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
There's a tremor in her hand, though lighter now. She still hasn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. I gave her a questioning look, but she's quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Or maybe she just doesn't want me asking questions, worrying. The sudden loss for words, this bout of quiet not normally present in our chats. Even the creaking of the old chair when I usually take a seat in it is a welcome break. Although the company's familiar, time has gone way past unnerving.
What happened? Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Another gulp drains her glass of its remaining contents. One would think it's enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it on her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah. Boss handed me extra work today. After what happened. To Rose.
Rose? Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once or twice. It doesn't matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then. A little memory of the night before. Bright red light from the dark room, a strong odour of the stop bath. Her television's barely audible murmur in the background and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere. The news is everywhere, even in the morning that follows. I just didn't think its effects would strike someone this close to me.
Damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
No, like I said, It'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will. Things might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished, and I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest. Even the most hard-working people I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
It's just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night. Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you...
No! Wait, please!
Vehement tension in her voice makes me pause. And it's in this instant the mask she's been keeping up falls apart, if only for a short while. Right then and there, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare from the moment she arrived. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. It's disturbing to see such marring her usual upbeat countenance. With a sigh, I cross the small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch is telling
Bella,
enough.
This ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is it really about? I'm all ears.
The sound of glass shattering rents through... That's supposed to be rends. A D. Through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows laboured.
I don't know anymore.
She clasps her hands over her ears, pressing it tightly against the sides of her head. Actually, here's a thing as well. Yeah, because during Isabella's story, we increased our thing with Zach. And it's taken into account the lowness. Actually, that seems a bit strange. That's lower, and we haven't even seen Hannah yet. Her voice grows weak with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
Alright, Isabella. Look at me.
Yeah, Shane, for reference, Metal Gear Solid's up next, then Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater speedrun, and then it's Halo 5 Guardians. Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 3 are probably going to be like an hour-and-a-half run alone. Takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favour of taking the control of the situation. Too close, too similar.
Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale, hold, exhale. Stay in the present. I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. Do you want to talk about it?
The force at which she shakes her head is enough reason for me to drop the topic altogether.
No more. Please, no more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Okay, no more talking. I won't ask anymore. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much. We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods lightly before retreating into herself again. No more words are exchanged after that. I take it as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before any one of us gets hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is a pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task, more so than her ragged drawn breath or my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two. But the latter does the trick, and soon enough she has already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling with a steady rhythm, the strain on her shoulders gone. Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to the bed and hugs herself tight against the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact that she appears relaxed, the small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her anytime soon. But for her sake, I hope it won't stay long with her. There are still questions left to be answered. But the late hour, coupled with a sudden exhaustion, made my old couch more comfortable bed than it typically is. So yeah, it's taking place on the 25th. Darkness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits the makeshift pillow. I can only wish the dreams will keep a distance for now, for both of us. First few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it became one of those nights where sleep passed like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty, burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun has yet to peak over the horizon, but night has given way to the cool morning light. So yeah, it's still technically midnight. Go figure. Watering everything in subtle grey hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice, just to catch those few precious extra minutes of sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of the bed. Ringing still hasn't stopped even as I fish the phone out, and Ashton's name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call
Took
yet.
you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet. Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
You want to talk? Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently. You've heard about the Cooper woman from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since...
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure how to... Sorry, I had the sweet stuck to the roof of my mouth. I let my voice trail off, unsure of how to go about recounting last night. I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transferred her the night before. Sometimes during her sleep, she pulls up the blanket over herself and tucks herself in comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes, or how much her hands and lips trembled. Save from the firm grip on the edge of the cover, she appears completely normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Something. The worry, the concern must have surfaced in my tone because his own shifts then. Carefully, as if he's preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kinda knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part. And I just didn't think, okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so...
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
the incident with the shop window.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after.
Yeah.
When she invited us to lunch, you weren't there. We were walking one second, and then the next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
It bothered him if the way he falls silent after is telling me. But whatever his opinion is, it stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good at that, hiding what he
Did
thinks.
she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Look who's talking.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
Drops the call before I can even get a word in, and for several minutes after I find myself simply listening to the rest of Luxborn rousers. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of nearby shops preparing for the day, and the growing clamour of the people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sound to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting, what's safe, what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabella shifts but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back into life. Give me a sec. Ugh, I think I'm getting sick. Which is never good. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like this, I envy her. Unresponsibly, unreasonably, probably a little unfair to say such in light of last night. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. Small yawn escapes me as I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through despite the proverbial ghosts hanging around. The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm. The instant I pick it up, the sterile odour of the capsule equally so. So he's on some form of antidepressant, it seems. Years ago, I'd spend minutes, heck, even hours staring at a single pill prior to taking one in. Now it's just a routine. A way to stave off the unwanted nightly visits. Although, I don't think Dr. Navarro would be quite pleased if he ever finds out I'm relying on these again. I do owe him a visit, regardless. Especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for a week. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary, and then I pop a tablet into my mouth.
What time is it?
The bottle on my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are some things I'd rather keep to
Morning,
myself.
Bella. Did you sleep well?
She answers the question with a long, drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. A chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities, inexperienced and immature even. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of an adult career than her own dreams can afford. To overlook how surprisingly observant she can be sometimes. Maybe not on the same level as Ash exercises for investigations, or Rebecca needs for her own work. It's certainly enough to deftly put what she sees around her on canvas. And the way her eyes flicker to the table and my hand says something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the question this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
Ma doing? You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My nana would give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be...
Concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over at the table, back to the bottle holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. The blood blooming over Par's heart, the horrified look on Mar's face as she watches him fall lifelessly to the ground, and every ounce of spite seething from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't... Fuck me. Never stops, does it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well. Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head toward the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtlety has never been one of her greater assets, but now even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not lost for words, at that. She has left it up to me whether I give her the response she wants to hear or not. Tell the truth. Yeah, definitely tell the truth. Well, it's never easy, ain't it? Talking about my own problems, that is. It will never be, not by a long shot. Not while I've let it stay this way for so long. I realised that long ago, when the wounds are still fresh and the dreams are a nightly occurrence. Can't force yourself to get better or move on to better things. It is what's normal now, and I can only hope. Did that say hope or cope? Backlog. And now I can only cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But of all the people I keep close in my life, she's probably one of the very few who perhaps I can trust with this. Maybe she won't understand entirely, I can never hope she will. No, never to the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her and giving too much of what I can. However, for all her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. And that's all I can ask for.
My bad. I was kinda hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the container when I gently set it back to its usual place. Always the small area closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss
What?
every day.
Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's. Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open and her smile honest, as if it's just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It is far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down on the twinge of unease that threatens to come
Let's
up.
hear it then.
And she does. True to her word, she listens while the story spills out my mouth of my ma and pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what it left in me that day. And recall I can't recall most of it now, my own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. The passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident, all except for that moment in the kitchen. The ringing of the gunshots were as vivid as it sounded that day. Wait, hold on. What year is this? Because he's 31. So, as a kid, 26 to possibly 20 years ago. Even Ma's hysterical scream the moment Pa's body hit the floor, motionless, his lifeblood flowing out from under him. And the gunman. He was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet to Pa's chest and Ma's head. I even heard stories of how the world can be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed it until that
Nan
moment.
and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. And we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment will be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity and maybe some a little too hard to understand. But to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easier to see the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, everything's been said. She wraps her arms around me, a bit awkward considering the gap in our heights, but it gets the sentiment across. But it's difficult to answer this in kind, if I'm even supposed to reciprocate the gesture given my early apprehension. Pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for, but it's obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Oh, okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry, I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah? Whew! Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons? But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief, fleeting, and disappears right before I can recognize
You
what
okay?
it is.
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine. Look, about last night, never mind. This isn't a good time. But don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out. And if you need me, I'll be here.
Should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone, in knowing that I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. Somehow, I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can, but this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask with that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. Worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe, and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say again about the happiest people when angered? Besides, it'd be unfair to her after our little chat.
So, food then?
He seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as it's simply been waiting for its cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. I'm going to have to leave it here right now. My throat is really having a hard time at the minute. I think I'm getting a cold or something, so it's starting to hurt when I'm talking, unfortunately. And with a game like this, talking's kind of a main staple of it, so unfortunately, like I said, I'm probably going to have to end it here. I will post on